Success of Ukraine is the end of Russia. Success in battlefield, success, political success, economical success, military success of Ukraine is very important to finish the Putin era.
What did you make of the events of the weekend? Did you see this as the beginning of the end of Vladimir Putin?
Definitely yes. It's we see how many political streaming under the water in Russia right now. Actually, 3 days long, Putin disappeared, and we doesn't see the commentary of Putin and the propaganda, Russian propaganda. Quite as they try to never touch right now the question of Prigozhin, what happens, and the whole world expect about explanation what's going on. But it's one more example. It's Russian society. It's not stable, and it's a lot of streaming in different streaming. Putin tried to, as dictator, try to make a control, but we see the situation was under control and very dangerous way. Because whole world expect something happen in Moscow because it's very close. Prigozhin with his army was very close to Moscow, and one more signal is Russia. It's under control. It's Russia is danger, and the whole world have to pay attention how we stop, first of all, the war in Ukraine, what make Russia, and secondly, it's what happens in the future, because Putin is not forever, and a lot of experts talking about end of Putin regime. It's one signal. It's the first. Not first, it's one of the largest signal in last time.
Is this how it ends in your view then, Vitaly? It ends with Ukraine pushing Russians back in Ukraine, and then some people in Russia saying enough is enough, and they get rid of Vladimir Putin. Is that a sort of aim of yours, that you create the situation in Ukraine that's so bad for Putin, he can no longer remain in charge of the country?
Success of Ukraine is the end of Russia. Success in battlefield, success, political success, economical success, military success of Ukraine is very important to finish the Putin era. And that why it's very important to support Ukraine. And very important to our integrity, very important our independency from Russia, and we have to be strong, because Russians accept that just strong position, and definitely we have to use the situation for Ukraine, and to be proactive in front line.
Explain that to us, Vital. That's really interesting. That there is this chaos now. Do you think that the Ukrainian forces have to do something to take advantage of it?
Definitely yes, but I'm not allowed to talking exactly about next steps. It's responsibility of our military forces, of our generals. But definitely this house we have to use, and I'm more than sure the system in Russia it's not stable, because a lot of people already ask Putin, right? It's not allowed to talk about that, but definitely everyone asks the Putin regime and government of Russia why the world brands, world companies left Russia. Why Iron Curtain coming back? Why Russians not anymore welcome around the world? And main question, what give the Russians to Putin? For which reason? Died my son, my husband, my relatives, and definitely situation in Russia not easy, but this question Putin have to give the answer, and our success in the front line is make Putin weaker and weaker.
Vitali, I wonder whether I could ask you a bit more about what's happening in Kyiv. That's also important. Now, is it true that, well, I think it's true to say that you've complained about some of the bomb shelters being locked. Why is that happening? Why would they be locked?
It's a lot of shelters from Soviet time was privatized, and we doesn't give the answer for the question for people told I'm sorry, it's was shelters, it was bunkers. Right now it's my private property, and I'm ready to give the services for everyone who need, but someone have to stay there 24/7 because we make a rule. The shelters have to be always open, and someone have to be care about the properties. And first point. The second point: what about the safeties? What about the electricity, water, the everything? It's our parliament. We need clear rules what give to us the answer for this question.
So you would like them to be, I'm just trying to understand, you would like them to be open, but they need some investment, some support from central government. Is that right?
Actually, we never expect the war will be in our hometown, and that's why we have old shelters or bunkers from Soviet time, when we in Soviet time prepare for the war and was a dictator. And after that, peaceful time is a big part of bunkers was privatized. First point. Second, it's actually a very unusual situation because nobody expect the very peaceful city where civilians will be bombed from Russians, send the missiles and destroyed lives of civilians, and we do it right now. It's actually very important, very simple shelters, but it have to be some program. Right now we do that. Every underground parkings have to be protected from explosions, and use also the double function as shelters.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you about your current relationship with central government, specifically with President Zelensky. Obviously, no one in Ukraine wants to show any weakness, any fracturing, any rift between anyone. But are there some disagreements between you and President Zelensky? He has in the past removed certain people who are heads of local government or local towns. Do you feel confident that he has confidence in you and that you will continue to be in the position that you are in currently?
First of all, I'm not happy to talking about that because our unity inside of Ukraine, it's very important to be successful. Unity is everywhere. It's actually, I understand this very unusual situation. It's a war, but everything centralized, and right now instead self-government, military administration, actually which responsible for shelters and bunkers, military administration. But right now some politicians try to make this political game in this situation during the war. It's not smart. It's not smart to do a political competition right now. Our strong position, we have to unite it. It's not political flags, just one flags. We have Ukrainian flags, yellow, blue flag, Ukrainian. We have to be strong. We have to be united. And but some politicians try to do it right now. Political games is not. It's not right. It's biggest mistake.